Okay, we will call this Agenda and Priorities meeting to order for 3 p.m. at April 21st. And I'd like to ask Councillor Wing to please read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wing. Just so everybody knows, Councillor Heistad is joining us online today. And we will move on to 2.1. Are there any additions or deletions, CEO Becker? No? Could I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor Dunham?
Mayor Barclay, move the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we'll move on to number 3. So I'd like to welcome Scott Milne today with Aquatic Center concerns. And just come on up, Scott, to the desk here. And if you'd like to turn the mic on, please, because if anybody's, that way Councillor Heistad can hear the conversation as well. So welcome.
Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize for wasting council's time in the previous meeting. I, for whatever reason, had it stuck in my head that you guys met Wednesdays. So I do apologize about that. It's not a good thing to miss important meetings. This afternoon, I've prepared a little statement that we've taken from a few people, mainly myself and my wife, Joy. We've been residents now in Innisfail for 15 years. Obviously, my wife's a school teacher. We're very involved with public stuff and sports and activities around. So if you just give me a minute, I'd like to read this to you, and then we can hopefully hear some answers. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here today as a concerned resident and taxpayer of the town of Innisfail. Over the last few months, it has come to my attention that an aquatic center shutdown was going to happen. First, let me express my thoughts on an aquatic center closure. Please don't take me the wrong way today. I am extremely happy that this is happening for the town of Innisfail. And our town has been in desperate need of either a new aquatic center, which you guys have gone through the paces of that, or an upgrade to the existing facility. Our aquatic center is a place where adults and children further themselves throughout workout programs, swimming lessons, public swimming, and swimming clubs such as the Dolphins. Our pool has been a crucial part of the community for the last 38 years since its original build. My own family participates in activities on a regular basis through the summer and winter months. For the Milne family to say that this is vital to our family is an understatement. My oldest child has a blood platelet issue, and swimming is one of the few activities that is safe for him to attend and be involved in. The staff of the pool have taught both of our boys how to swim and have given them a space to have fun and gain respect for the water. Our family has also now been involved with the swimming club full-time for the past 2 years and have persuaded multiple families to come join the activities at the pool, whether it's with the club or public swimming. This has been a central hub for everybody in Innisfail to socialize and participate in incredible activities as part of community wellness. The reason I have chosen, and thankfully you as town council have allowed me to be here today and present my thoughts to you about the closure, is that I believe there's been a mishandling in how the flow of information to the general public has not been made clearly or easily available. My understanding is that the town in 2018 passed a motion to follow the public participation policy. To summarize this policy quickly, it was made by the town of Innisfail to be committed to local citizens and stakeholders in the decision and information on projects. The main objectives listed in the town policy are to enhance decision-making by having the most complete information at hand, including consideration of impacts of the citizens of the town. Secondly, the next main objective is to build trust, confidence, and ownership in decision-making. I feel the town, at this point, did not uphold the principle of demonstrating respect and consideration for the participants and stakeholders. I've been concerned about the process and direction that this project has been taken since early January. The president of our swim club had been in contact with the town about the timing of the closure of the pool and sought information as we were trying to plan our upcoming swim season. At this point, she was told that the pool closure would happen on July 7th. Obviously, this greatly concerned me, as that would cut our swim season short by 3 weeks. The 3-week season, or shortened season, comes on the heels of the season already being cut short by a pool renovation in Edmonton. And it'll be shut down for an upgrade as well. Usually the provincials for our swim club are on August 15th, and this year they're going to be August long. If this was a normal year, our season would have been cut short by more than a month and would have affected our season more dramatically. So I have a few questions. Was the town administration aware of our already shortened season at this point before making this decision about the pool closure? I'm not sure how the administration would know that the pool would need to be closed in January, as I believe they did not have the report back on what needed to be done to retrofit the center and had not sought direct communication with our club, the Dolphins, and the general public. How was this conclusion made at the time? From my understanding through an email chain, the town had asked higher level employees of the pool what good timing would be for the closure. This, honestly, because you have an amazing pool staff here, is a very good start. But I believe the general public and stakeholders should have been consulted as well through a forum setting. Parents and community members with children that have planned summer activities should have been asked for input. I do not believe that a good practice was used in any way in this decision of disclosure to promote transparency for taxpayers. Since we had a hard date for the closure, am I to expect one for the opening? If the opening date is missed, and are there any penalties to the prime contractor for missing these dates? If the pool is closed for 10 months, the Dolphins will lose basically everything. I personally have worked hard last year to get us back into the black again. I scoured basically all of central Alberta, all the way for corporate donations from Innisfil and as far away as Calgary, Lacombe, Ponoka, and Red Deer. All this hard work, I believe, will disappear with the uncertainty of the opening again for the next season on time. Parents that use the pool and the amenities require stability for family outings and to be able to join clubs such as the Dolphins. And as a senior site superintendent with 25 years of experience in these retrofits and new builds, I am deeply concerned with the timeline of this project. So a few key issues identified. Number one, limited transparency. Critical decisions, example, the pool closure date, were communicated late or not at all to major stakeholders such as the Innisfil Dolphin Swim Club. Number two, the lack of inclusive consultation. Planning did not include meaningful outreach to the public, including families, community clubs, or seasonal users. Three, uncertainty in the timelines. No clear communication regarding opening dates or accountability measures, as I said before, penalties for missed deadlines. So in conclusion, I have 3 points I'd like to bring forward to council for future projects. Number one is, what can the town administration do to increase the transparency on projects of this magnitude in the future? Number two would be, is the town administration willing to set up a building council for future projects to be able to hear an experienced and current perspective from all avenues within the town taxpayers, professionals in the field, and residents? Number three, how do we ensure that your public participation policy is used in public projects like the $14 million pool renovation so that the town and council can truly demonstrate respect and consideration for participants and stakeholders? So in closing, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to let me present these concerns to all of you in a public setting. My hope is that in any avenue I can help with future projects. I'm a resident of this town. I want to see our town grow. I truly believe the pool is going to be beautiful after the transformation. I just believe that there's been just a bit of a misstep here in how we can fix this for the future. We are where we are today for the pool closure. Going forward, it's going to happen. We know the date. Basically, my family wants this town to grow and be an amazing family location for years to come. I just want to make sure in the future that the information is open and honest surrounding future projects that the town will undertake.
Okay. Thank you very
you.
much, Scott. I guess I can give you some perspective, I guess, being here last term, and I'll let maybe CEO Becker fill in a lot of it because it's, administration questions, I think. But, last term we began down this path with Aquatic Center, and that was certainly a priority. It went from, we had RC Strategies, who's a company out of Sherwood Park, and they did a lot of community consultation. And then we kind of got into design, and there was, I believe, 3 different designs. There was keep the existing footprint, and then 2 different size of expansions. Kind of got to a point in that with a company called HCMA who responded to an RPR that was put out, and we thought, well, let's have a little bit bigger dream, and could we do a multiplex? They, drew it out on paper and brought it back to us with some estimates, and of course it was sadly out of the question. It was $65 million, and that was pre-COVID, and that included a field house and then a new aquatic center attached to the arena. So then we went back a little bit and thought, okay, well, what about just the pool attached to the arena? Because a lot of the community consultation that had been done by HCMA and RC Strategies was, what did the community want? And people wanted a multiplex. So we thought, well, maybe we could start phasing a multiplex approach and attach a new aquatic center to the arena. But of course, we're now into COVID, post-COVID. I don't remember all the dates off the top of my head, but that came back at just over $30 million. And the reality is we did a lot of advocating to other levels of government. There wasn't really any money available provincially, for sure there is none, and it just became impossible for us to move forward with that concept without more participation from senior levels of government. So we backed up again and ended up with the existing footprint and doing this modernization, which I think is basically everything new except the basin. It's pretty much what I understand, but so I think on one hand there was a significant amount of public consultation, but maybe more so last term. Maybe CEO Becker can help out a little bit how much was done with this particular project, but there were surveys, there was user group consultation, participated in some of that, and I know Councillor Bates did as well. And then we kind of got to this, and Shandos was already on board, and they came up with this modernization plan. And I don't know whether the thought was, it's really bringing the facility up to code, so there's not a lot of input that was maybe thought of from the community. I don't know about that, but I'll defer to CEO Becker, and he can kind of give you more of the probably more accurate details of other things that went on than what I would know.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. To the delegate, there's nothing I can add to your timeline that you've established and the information, so I won't go there. I can state that the data collection through community and user groups started in 2019. It went into 2021 as we started the validation reports, determination. That data was reevaluated to determine if there's new criteria or new information that would be subject to go back to council. We do follow the public participation policy. One part is consult. That consult part is what I mentioned, 2019 into 2021, into the year 2021. And then recently it's when the policy is more into the inform piece as what you're experiencing. Nothing more to add, but the data has been utilized to establish the validation report, which was approved last Monday.
Can I respond?
Absolutely, Scott, for sure.
I've had multiple conversations with people, and I mean, being in the industry I'm in and the company I work for, I've done this before. I know how tough a job you guys have. People look at council like you guys are always striving not to sometimes do the things the public wants. I truly cherish that you guys have chosen to do this and fix the pool, because I mean, my children are young. We have friends that have young children. This is going to be used for years and years to come. I guess the point that I was trying to bring today is that in my industry, and I deal with big numbers all the time and big projects. I just don't believe, I think we just, maybe as a community and maybe as a council, we made just a slight misstep this time. Just with the information and the input from the public, I know 2019, I have all the dates here. I followed a lot of stuff. I'm not here to tell you guys are doing a bad job and you're doing it wrong, because I truly don't believe that. I just wanted to come here today to be on public record just about how passionate I feel about being very, very, very open. In my job, I deal with owners all the time. I deal with very short timelines. I've worked with Shandos, lots. I've worked with the other contractors actually that are in the building lots. I guess what I've seen lately too, and I saw the statement you guys put out on social media, and I saw the reactions from people on there as well. I find people's reactions, people try and come back and point the finger at you guys, and I just want to make it really clear today. I'm not here to point fingers at you guys. I feel a need in this community to help. With my knowledge and what I've known and what I've built, I just feel like it wasn't maybe as clear of message as we could have put back to the community. There's always going to be 10 or 15% of people that are going to come back and attack the town and administration and everything else. That's just a given. That's a given in any facet of life. I just feel there should have been maybe a little bit more respect for the stakeholders. I didn't feel it was very clear. I felt the decision was made, and I understood why the decision was made, and then through a few email chains, we actually didn't get a reply back to the last one, and that's kind of why I'm here as well today. So Erin, our president, she sent a request in to meet in person. That was I believe, it was not answered, is what my wife is telling me, and usually when my wife tells me something, she's fairly right. I just feel the information in this scenario, if we are talking about a timeline of a project, is it going to be 8 months? So is it going to be 9? I mean, it's a really impossible question for all of us sitting here to answer, right? I just know from my background, sometimes I'm given the ultimatum date, and we do have penalties involved in it. Because what's going to happen here is if this goes on, so we lose the end of the season, that's good. I mean, and to talk about the end of the season here, just to get a little off topic, I know the town had reached out to the Olds pool, but they had done so in a way, it was laid with great intentions. Like, honestly, it made me feel happy that somebody was thinking about the process. But the problem was that the town reached out to another community to try and get us lanes without actually consulting our swim club. So it would be like me trying to book a date for anybody in town without actually asking me, like, well, you know, I talked to that person already for you, don't worry about it. So I think there was just a little bit, that's where a little bit of animosity started. And I don't like using the word animosity because we're not, as a swim club, here to tell you this is the wrong decision. We're just here to inform, I guess, council and the CEO about our displeasure, maybe about how it was communicated. We've accepted it. We're happy. We're happy it's going to happen. But for me personally, it is the end date. And I would like council and the CEO to go back to Shandos Construction and ask, so what is the backup plan if you are 10 months? Because things in renovations do happen. It's always a foreseen in all projects. So is there a drop dead date? Because if we lose the beginning of next season, I personally raised $7,500 for our swim club last year because, as you guys know, there's been previous years we were in the red, and I got involved with it, and I felt the need to go out and go to private enterprises and say, hey, this is for the kids, man. Like, we need to make sure this is sustainable. Like, this swim club has been here for 70 plus years. And we were on the verge, because everybody knows of COVID, that we were going to lose. Everybody was going to lose a lot of stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm just asking council if they would go back to Shandos and say, is there a hard date to the end of this? We are more than willing to give up the last 3 weeks of our season, but I am not willing to give up the start of our season. If we lose the start of our season, guys, we lose the Innisfil Dolphins after 70 years here. We've already done a casino this year, raised an exorbitant amount of money. We've lowered our prices because we knew it was going to be a short swim season. We'd figured that out by the registration night because we were told of the date. So we are actually taking another financial hit as a club to make sure we can keep families involved, because it's an amazing club to be involved in. Like, I couldn't ask my children to be in a better club. My one son plays hockey, and I wish hockey was what the Dolphins are, because it's so inclusive. No one is left out in the cold. Whether if you have disabilities, none of it. You're welcome, you're included, and you're pushed to be a better person every day. But we will lose this if we do not open on time next year. So I know it's on everybody's mind here. I just needed it to be publicly stated, especially from myself being in construction, that there are ways and there are requirements. You guys, as the customer to the construction company, can, you can dictate some dates that this has to be a hard open. They've already bid the process, and I know how that goes. So I'm here to not put blame on anybody. What I'm here to do is just, I want to make our town the most amazing town in Central Alberta. And I would bend over backwards for the town of Innisfil. If any one of you councillors, the mayor or the CEO asked me, I would drop what I'm doing today to help. So I just needed it to be, I felt I needed to come and say it. So I hope you take my words.
Work, you can get done in front of the period. Sometimes it's after. It depends on significant risks that are identified during that process. But our target's going to be the targets. Leading up the validation report, council will just remind you, is an 8 to 10 month period. Now we're focused more on the 9th month period. Again, a detailed design will confirm, and again, there's some grace period within the risk identification, but the intention of consultant and the staff, administration, and council is to achieve the timeline that's been identified, so all users can do their appropriate planning. Also, I must respond to the statement to the delegate on transparency administration. We take great pride in transparency. I don't want to create debates with the delegate, but certainly want to make point of the administration and our key desires to be transparent and open, which we've proven that over the last several years.
Yeah, and I would suggest that, I think reaching out to Olds, I don't think it was necessarily to book time on your behalf. It was more so to see if there was room to accommodate. And I believe when Olds was closed, that accommodation took place here, and it happens throughout Central Alberta when, facilities go down, such as Didsbury Arena and whatnot, that communities reach out to each other and try to help each other. So I don't think that, I know it wouldn't have been meant to overstep authority.
You recognize that.
Yeah, it was just trying to help.
I guess I can add one more thing. Just for transparency, we are going to have this posted on Innisfailinvolved.ca, where we'll have a project-based updates, regular updates for people to be aware of and follow and track. So if you do have any questions, definitely go through that as well.
Yeah, that's appreciated. I appreciate the time today, council. I just needed my feelings to be said, and I appreciate the job you guys are doing.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming, Scott. We
Thank you.
appreciate you coming and letting us know how you feel, for sure.
Thank you for the time.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, we'll move into 4.1 with CEO Becker on council onboarding.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. So before you, council, is a chart or a framework that will be utilized for those that are interested in running for council and those that then are elected for council. It's a framework. Some of the dates that are, we'll just go right to the chart there, Juanita. So the chart here is something we can demonstrate to those wishing to run for council. This is what you're going to be faced with the first year, roughly. It's pretty aggressive. As you, council, are aware that you may have not seen this coming on council when you're elected, how demanding the role is, especially on the onset, but it's a continual throughout the term of your council. Just to walk through the chart, again, some of these dates are secured, such things as the candidate nomination period, January 1 to September 22nd, is written through provincial legislation. The pre-election candidate training sessions, administration is currently working on a couple sessions. We're going to be using the AM related video. We'll probably host something in here, likely in June and September. We'll advertise that out and draw people into a room to have a conversation about what we consider the roles of governance with council. The dates, you see the webinar series is outlined, the dates that are outlined that are recently announced by the Alberta municipalities. Deadline for candidate withdrawal is secure as per legislation. Moving in to get council moving forward into the organization, you can see connecting with new council in that area of October 23rd. So you can see those dates are really tight. That's typical actions that happen following the election. Inaugural meeting of council, swearing in of elected officials, which is the Monday, October 27th. And then moving into a regional council orientation, which is held in Black Falls, October 28th, presented by George Cuff. And you'll get to meet other regional elected officials at that time. Then we move into immediately at the internal council orientation from presentations from the CAO and senior leadership team, roles, responsibilities, procedures, different key immediate bylaws, policies that you would consider, a base overview of the strategic plan that exists currently. Then going into the organizational meeting, which is where you are then put into your different committees appointed. One thing we're working on through Director Kennedy is to take the infrastructure memo that you heard that term, just to make it into more robust document, state of infrastructure report, which is a little bit more public facing, I'd say. We'll utilize as a framework for public education. That'll be a good tool to demonstrate to new council the current state of our infrastructure. Then on to Calgary for the AM convention. And as per traditional, going into the budget deliberations with tentative dates as per tradition in that later part of November. Then going into more specific training, perhaps legal training to understand subdivision appeal board, municipal planning commission, Freedom of Information Privacy Act, etc. Emergency management. Also want to get council in the room, the different facilities and places where a lot of our core infrastructure services are conducted. It's important to understand, have the visual with the information administration provides you. And then as per committees appointed, you get into specific committee orientations. As per tradition too, sometimes council will get in the room with other regional elected councils. Ranger County is always one. The school boards, the Penhold perhaps, Bowden, and other stakeholders that you would meet with and just get on in the same room and start talking about community. Council strategic planning session is booked for the early part of February. And then one part is the Power of Place Municipal Energy Hub is to pull in professional expertise to revisit the energy hub and action associated with that important piece of work that's been happening over the last 3 to 4 years. So again, some of those dates are secured as per legislation. A lot of those dates can float. I'm looking for council's feedback, input. Maybe there's something missing that you wish to be, that come to mind, but it can change too with new council, but your feedback now and later is invited.
All right, thank you, CEO Becker. Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. And through to the CAO, this is really helpful. Speaking as a first termer, this sort of information would have been really helpful in advance. For me, the only piece that's missing, CEO Becker, is more information on how much time especially that first lump of meetings that happens right after the election. So for people that don't know that council meets starting at 3 o'clock, that's one thing that can be indicated somewhere. But for a bunch of these meetings, right off the hop, they're full day engagements. And so even if there was an asterisk and then somewhere like a legend in the bottom that said full day meeting or half day meeting, just so people are able, if they're working, that they are able to have a conversation with their employer in advance to say, if I'm elected, I'm going to need the first month off almost. Because it was almost that bad, wasn't it? It feels that way. Anyways, just that, for me, just that time piece of information is, otherwise it's great.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any feedback? Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, no, much with your worship, and thanks for letting me take the floor. I agree with Councillor Wing. That first month can be pretty hectic, and I think that we may be going some big changes on council around the table with some changes. So it's important for whoever's going to come up and take on these roles, understanding the complexity of them. And I think that our current council has done a really good job, not only working with our mayor, but with the administration. And that's key, whether you own a business or you work for a private sector or even public sector, what those timelines are, as well as maybe I was thinking of some of the opportunities that you have educationally, if you're going to sit at council and what those opportunities may be in the future, if you're looking at, professional development, doing that work. So those are my thoughts and input. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, through to administration. I just was so happy to see this. I think it's going to be extremely helpful for the incoming.
Councillor Dunham?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I, as well, it was great to see this, and I agree with Councillor Wing on not only the dates, but the time commitment involved. And I think the other thing too that would have been, I wish I'd understand earlier on is, and although we didn't get our professional development budgets until we readjusted how we were going to allocate money, but I think going into the new is for people, or for whoever ends up here, to understand that they have those opportunities for professional development. And I don't like the term take advantage, but utilize what you have within your budget to make sure that all the different roles, the different committees, boards that you're on, that you get some backgrounders and any opportunity to enhance that.
Okay, thank you. I'd also like to add, CEO Becker, maybe there's an opportunity for a partial day communications. I know we had somebody come in, I can't think who it was now, back when, and then of course Ben came in recently, and I think that's really important. So helps council understand that communication channel and as well. So anybody else? No? Okay, if that's everything, then I'll just have somebody please make the recommended motion. Councillor Wing.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. I would move that council accept the 2025 municipal election and orientation report as information.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. Shauna Randolph, that's who I was thinking of. Comes back eventually. Okay, we'll move on to 4.2 and the council procedure bylaw with CEO Becker.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Thanks to legislative services to update council's procedure bylaw. You're informed later part of 2024 that this procedure bylaw was coming to you with a new draft for a few different reasons. Council's procedure bylaw is really the guide on how council and council committees conduct their business, procedural and as well as conduct. So it's a really important bylaw, as you are aware. So it comes to you in draft. If council feels it to be appropriate for you, we'd come back into the chambers next week, the regular council meeting, for formal adoption. So I'll just go through the report, and then I'll go into the new draft of the bylaw. So key changes at the bottom of the first page of the report of the new version. So what it states, introduces a new section for written council reports. Council made it clear probably early last year, 2024, council's commitment to write council reports, which most often you put within your council, regular council meeting agendas, and you speak verbally at your agendas and priorities meeting. So that's included. The next section, electronic participation in meetings. So it adds procedures for electronic council meetings, including criteria for individuals attending remotely. So a little bit of guidance within the bylaw, where we didn't have that guidance in the current bylaw. Public hearings is one of the key reasons why we're suggesting changing. I'm not suggesting your legislative changes, is to allow for virtual participation and submission in relation to public hearings. So people do have a right to register with administration to come before you electronically or virtually for public hearings. As per different conversations and best practices advice, it's recommended to remove open mic, which is part of your agendas typically. So that would be removed. People then can come before you, council, through a registered delegate, as a registered delegate. Delegation criteria clarified as approval criteria, so it's not robust, doesn't give CAO exactly what you need to do to screen to support a delegate coming in, but it's just general terms on helping those that wish to come before you as a delegation. Mayor's ex officio role, so we'll go at the very end, but at the very bottom of this report, there's some research. There was a question on mayor's ex officio role on council committees. Are they voting? Do they count for quorum? Largely finding that the mayor, in other procedure bylaws, is that they are considered voting and can be considered quorum, but there are a few municipalities that do not accommodate that. So it's really up to your flavor as council. How do you wish to include ex officio of the mayor within your procedure bylaw? Committee terms of reference. So standalone bylaws are now required for committees, where we used to attach your direct committees to the procedure bylaw through a terms of reference. So now we're taking that terms of reference and putting it in the form of a bylaw. So Policing Committee, Economic Development Committee, Community Services Standing Committee, FCSS are all written within a bylaw format, not attached to this bylaw within a terms of reference. The bylaw has been modernized just in streamlining plain language, so less legalese, more plain language. Motion procedures expanded, so a little bit complicated. I must admit I like council's approach on achieving motions and sub-motions, et cetera. But depends on mayor and council what your expectations are. There is a chart you'll see in the bylaw how you can do the ladder up and down of motions. Inaugural meeting, as you'll see, specifies procedures for the inaugural meeting, which we just reviewed that in your chart. So just going down into the bylaw, and I'll just kind of point you at some of these changes, and then council, you can interrupt me as you like, and then take any questions. So just at the bottom of the first page, just under definitions. Yeah, so sorry, the next page, second page, Juanita. Electronic means, that's a new definition at the top of that page. So that's a new definition, as is ex officio. Just going down into section 1. So I did mention inaugural meeting. So there's a description of the inaugural meeting. So what's the chart stated, you'll have your inaugural meeting 1 week after the election, so the 27th. That's where council will take the oath of office. We did initially have in the first draft the reference to the code of conduct bylaw, but we know that's not going to be part of this bylaw, as per the government's eliminating currently the code of conduct requirements in its current form.
So CEO Becker, just a question about that. Like there's a new bill that's been introduced but has not been passed. Do we know when that's going to be passed, or?
I do not at this time, Mayor Barclay, know when that bill is going to be
Okay, because I don't think, I'm not sure that they're sitting anymore this year. Maybe they are, like till fall, but I don't know. Anyway.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
offhand.
Okay, thanks.
Going to section 16. So 17, actually, approval of formal delegation requests will take into consideration the following criteria. And there's a list of 4 items that helps me work with that delegate request on gathering necessary information to help them come before you as a delegate. Section 20 is new. Public participation is encouraged through scheduled delegations. So just wording, I believe, but this is in relation to public hearings. Just a little bit more meat in the bylaw for clause 21. Public may attend all public council meetings as observers and may not address the meeting unless they have previously been placed on the agenda. So yeah, 22 and 23 are also updated or new clauses. Section 38. This is the latter. Again, it can be used as a reference. It really depends on you, council, how you would conduct your business. Again, it's not about me at all, but certainly the ladder, I know what my role would be, supporting you with the ladder of motions. But here's the appropriate ladder meaning subsidiary. I knew I was going to struggle with that word. Amending motions, etc. How does that ladder work, and when, etc. So it's a guide. Going into section 59, public hearings. So that goes into the virtual participation. So persons may participate by registering with the CAO prior to 4 p.m. on the Friday preceding the public hearing to speak at the public hearing. Section 68 is a new section regarding council reports. Really, the reports provide opportunity to share updates on their activities, emphasize key matters from the board or committee roles, and contribute valuable information and support informed decision-making and promote transparency. Section 69, council reports must be submitted to the CAO no later than 1 p.m. on Wednesday. There is some flexibility there. Same requirement is for senior leadership team. So yeah, we could even adjust this date if it creates a little bit of concern of council. It's a target, but usually by end of Thursday is decent, but it does scramble if there's a lot on the agenda. So if we want to adjust this one, we could probably do that one slightly.
So CEO Becker, could we make it like Thursday at 1 or something? Does that work? Because I imagine every time there's a scramble, we would know better than us, but I'm just
Yeah, we'll
speaking
make a note
from
of that.
my point of view.
Sure, we can do that.
Okay.
And if you're stuck, council, and you can just inquire to Juanita where are we at with the agenda, and we can get it. Maybe it's at 2 o'clock on Thursday or 3, but so yeah, a little bit more meat on the council reports. So going into section 88, electronic participation in meetings. Again, I'm not going to review all those clauses, but 89 through to 98 are either updated or new clauses regarding electronic participation. So it gives us some guidance administratively. How do we, if, say, for instance, Councillor Heistad, all of a sudden we lose him, then we want to make sure it's recorded that he's absent from parts of that meeting, or if he has to leave, then we do record that, or we try to get him back on. But sometimes you do have technical issues and it's not possible. But we want to make it's noted in the minutes. Council established committees. The only section change, I believe, is 99D, and that's part of that ex officio reference I made earlier. And before I go to that piece of the review, is there any questions, council, on clarity of the bylaw? So if we can go to the very last page of the report, Wendy, please. Sorry, very last page. There, yeah. So this is the research we conducted just on the ex officio rates. Again, right now, that's per the bylaw, it reads that the mayor has voting privileges as well as would be considered quorum. I mean, ex officio means the mayor can go to meetings. Largely, it's in the absence, but if there's something of special interest, the mayor may attend. But in my time as CAO here and other locations, I'm not seeing that exercised as it's worded. That can be used as a mechanism to gain vote, but it's not used in any negative way. It's more to support committees and council. But that's the research we conducted there. And that's my report, council.
Councillor Bates.
So I think it's spelled out under the definitions that ex officio is in the case where someone is not able to attend, then the mayor basically can attend as in place of them. That's the way I understand it. And that obviously the mayor can attend all kinds of meetings, but if it wasn't in place of someone, then the mayor would just be there as an observer. Is that concise enough, what that all means? That's the way I understand it, and that sounds great to me.
Yeah, I think the wording's clear. Mayor Barclay to Councillor Bates. In the absence of appointed regular member or the absence of an alternate member is deemed to the member for the meeting with voting privileges. So I think that's pretty clear.
Any other questions? No, don't see any. So we'll just have somebody please make the recommended motion. Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay, I move that council directs administration to bring draft council policy bylaw 1737-2025 to the April 28, 2025 regular meeting of council for formal adoption as presented.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. I'm assuming Councillor Heistad has his hand up. I can't see him, but there he is. There he is. Perfect. Okay, we'll go into 5.1, the correspondence and information. Thought it was interesting, Councillor Bates, that number 3 is your deal. The new accounting procedures and the retirement obligations on the landfill site is kind of interesting on those financial statements. So we'll be seeing that in a lot of communities, I'm assuming. So when somebody's ready, I'll just have you make a motion that we accept the correspondence as information, please. Councillor Bates.
I'll move that we accept for information the correspondence.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we'll go into roundtable with Councillor Dunham to begin with.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I will be submitting my report before I head out on Wednesday to the big town of Lloydminster to watch my niece play for Canadian Gold for junior under 18.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Wing. Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I will also be submitting my report. However, this week, it's tomorrow, Library Board tomorrow, but then Parkland Regional, Alberta Munis. I will be calling in on the Alberta Munis Bill 50 as I'm driving home from Parkland. And the Emergency Advisory Committee meeting is Thursday evening. And then I'm looking forward to the Community Awards on Friday.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Bates?
So I'm just going to take a minute and elaborate on the Central Alberta Waste over and above the audit that was there. The meat and potatoes, obviously, of that commission is the groundwater monitoring, and it was discussed quite a bit at this meeting. This is the last meeting for this council, and they actually pegged the next meeting as being suggested for December the 3rd, and that would be at 10 o'clock at Red Deer County, so we might want to just put that down in the big list of things that once that new person, whoever it is delegated, that is a meeting that would interact with all the other communities in that commission. The groundwater monitoring has been good. It was interesting. I hadn't heard it before, but there's natural occurring elements in the groundwater there that actually exceed normal standards. That's how high the standards are. And but there has been no migration and no changes that would cause anyone any concern. And the next step in that commission is in 2027, they apply for the final 3-year monitoring period that takes them to 2031. And then everyone looks at everyone and says, we really don't know if Alberta Environment could come up with something after that. They could, but at this point in time, that would be the end point, and yeah, that would complete that commission. And that's really all I had to add there. And I also just wanted to mention how entertaining and fun the boob tour was last week. That has become quite an event in our community and a real good fundraiser.
All right, thank you. And Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I don't have too much to report. What I do have will be in my report next week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Heistad?
Thanks, Your Worship. I'm just gonna reiterate what Councillor Bates said about the boob tour. I had the fortune to sit with CAO Becker and his daughter and son-in-law, and it was a great night. As to this week, we got a few items that most of us will be bumping into one another this upcoming week. And no, that's it. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. I understand that they raised something like $18,000, so I think that's another record year. So yeah, it was a really fun night. And emergency management meeting this week, and community awards on Friday night, and then of course Bill 50. So I think we're going to do that in the council chambers here that day if people want to come here, or we can do it at home. We can change that if you'd rather. Doesn't matter. So we'll move into upcoming events. I'll just add one in. Juanita, May 15th is the Cape Annual General Meeting at the Innisfail Golf Course, 8:30 to noon. I kept meaning to tell you that, and I didn't. So please have somebody make a motion to accept the upcoming events as information. Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I will make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? All right, carried. So we'll now have a motion to go in camera, please. Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thanks. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thanks.